I look like a drowned rat. All right, nature. Yes, you're beautiful, but please be quiet. I'm filming. Quiet on set. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. So today I want to talk about something that I haven't really talked about before. I don't know why I've never really talked about it. But I'm going to talk about my piercings a little bit, and my nose piercing especially. Because a lot of people ask me like what made me want to do it, and, like what pros and cons and blah blah blah. So I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about that. So I'll start with these ones here. So I guess for starters, I'll say like my parents never really told me I couldn't do things. Not limited to piercings, like dyeing my hair. If I wanted to do it, I could. Whatever kind of clothes I wanted to wear, I mean, as long as it wasn't overly revealing, my parents were completely fine with it. There's one bird that just wants to talk over me this entire video. But anyway, so basically, yeah, my parents never really said I couldn't do things, and they were, I don't think they would like come out and tell you that they were like, oh yeah, if my kids wanted to, you know, dye their hair black and get 38 piercings, then who's gonna stop them? Like, my parents wouldn't be like that far. But as far as like ear piercings, nose piercing, my sister had her nose pierced when she was like 18 or 16 or something, and my parents never said anything. My mom let us decide to get our ears pierced when we were, I was 6, my sister was 6. So like, yeah, we never really had like people telling us, no, you can't. So I'm outside. It's in the middle of lockdown, so I'm gonna spend as much time outside while it's nice as I can. And unfortunately that means that a lot of people are moving and stuff right now. Which is not something you're supposed to be doing during a lockdown, but that's fine. Anyway, so yeah, my piercings. So I'm gonna talk really, really briefly about the ears, because I mean, ear piercings are very, very simple, very easy to take care of. You see them everywhere. And same with nose piercings, honestly, they're pretty simple, but I had kind of a bit of a an experience that not everyone can say they've had. So yeah, so these ones here. So I got my first piercings done when I was 6, and then I got this top cartilage one done when I was 16, and then I got this one here done when I was, how old was I? My son was born, I would have been 22, and this one here I got when I was 24. Oh no, 23. Okay, so I got 6 years old for these ones, and then 16, 21, or 22, 23, and then I got these ones, the second piercings and my nose piercing, all done at the same time when I was 24. And basically, this one here healed fine. Like the very first one I got, like it was great. Like it was such minor maintenance, maybe because of where it is, but like the biggest thing is like, don't sleep on your ear. That's like the biggest thing, is if you're gonna get cartilage piercings or anything like that, is you don't want to sleep on that side. So if you tend to sleep on your left side and you want to get an ear piercing, pierce on the right side. Same with actually with your nose. Now I didn't realize that apparently having your nose pierced, or I guess lips as well, pierced on a certain side could represent that you're lesbian or gay. And I didn't even know that, but apparently that's a thing. So I guess if that's a thing that matters to you, take that into consideration. I was told that recently. I learned that on TikTok. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I learned that on TikTok. I was like, oh, apparently if you have your nose pierced on the left side, you're a lesbian. Cool. Mine's on the right side, but I mean, that's just because I had too many piercings on this side and I wanted to even it out a little bit. But yeah, that's apparently a thing. So just kind of take those little stereotypes into consideration, I guess, if you're gonna get piercings. But at the end of the day, it's all depending on what you like, and you know, you're the one that's gonna be looking at it, and it's not really anyone else's business. But yeah, so these here, I had a really big problem with the very last one here. I got this one done in Kingston, and it just, I don't know if it's because it's like right where the cartilage ends a little bit, like I don't know, but it took forever to heal. It was nasty. It was just not a fun time. Basically what I was doing was the same thing I did with my nose when it got infected or whatever, is I would just take like a small bowl and fill it with warm water, and then pour a good amount of sea salt into it and wait for it to dissolve, and then I would just put the bowl up to my ear and just keep my head into the ear, like into the bowl, and that way it was basically like a saline bath. And that's basically what most piercers will recommend you do anyway. don't use alcohol in your piercings because it takes all the oils out of your skin that help heal. So yeah, oil is not, or alcohol, if you're gonna use alcohol, dilute it with water. Same with like Bactine, if you're gonna use Bactine, dilute it with water, because it's just too harsh on like sensitive spots like your ears. But yeah, so the nose piercing, just forget about the rest for a minute. The nose piercing, so I got these piercings, like these studs here, and my nose piercing from the same person at the same time, and or in the same appointment. It wasn't like bang 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 all at once, but so my nose piercing was an interesting experience. So I'd wanted to get my nose pierced for a long time. My sister got her nose pierced when she was like 16 or 18 or somewhere in there, and it wasn't that I wanted to be like her. Actually, because she got her nose pierced, that's why I chose to get my cartilage pierced, because I was like, I don't want to be like her. But like the minute she got it, I was like, I want that. She and I have the same nose shape, and I liked how it looked on her, and I was like, if it looks good on her, I'm her sister, we look a lot alike, and it's gonna look good on me. But then I got kind of scared because my sister's nose piercing rejected. So basically her body pushed it out. It just got really badly infected. She had a bump and all that, and she just, I don't know, personally, and I'm sorry, Callie, for saying this, but personally, I think you could have done a better job of taking care of it. Maybe it's just because I have a little bit more experience with piercings than you do, because you've got like what, your lobes and your nose. Well, you used to have your nose. But I think it's just that I have a little bit more experience with piercings, and I can tell you, I just don't think she took proper care of it. And I think at the end of the day, I think hers got pulled out while she was sleeping or something. The sun just came out right into my eyes. So the lighting should be phenomenal now. Anyway, I'm gonna need some sunglasses here in a minute. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know. I think that my sister just didn't really take as good of care of her piercing as she could have. I talked to my friend Kay, and she had both sides of her nose pierced, and it healed fine, and she never really had any issues with it. And I still, like, I always loved the look of nose piercings. So I was like, you know what? I'm not afraid of needles. I'm not afraid of piercings. And if I want to get a nose piercing, I'm going to get it. You know, worst comes to worst, I take it out and it heals over. But then I didn't expect what happened. So I'm one of those people that, like, if you're learning how to do your job, like if you're working at a restaurant and you're just kind of learning how to use the till, I'm patient. I mean, I've been there, you know, I get it. So same with like this girl who's learning how to pierce. Okay, I gotta move my camera here. We just moved a little bit, I'm sorry. Okay, so, and of course now the place I'm sitting on my stair is wet. Hooray. Okay. The girl that was piercing me was training. She said that she'd been there for a couple weeks. She'd done many ear piercings. She'd only done a few cartilage piercings, but she'd only done 2 or 3 nose piercings. And of course she's like, are you okay with me doing it, like doing your nose piercing, knowing that I don't have very much experience? So I was like, you know what? How hard can it be to just stick a needle through my face? So, and it might have been like a mix of like, just like impatience. I know my niece and my sister were there, and I'd already gotten these 2 done, and they were like so simple. And I was like, you know what? Sure, let's do it. You know what? I am totally okay with being a guinea pig. I've been a guinea pig for haircuts. I've been a guinea pig for makeup. Honestly, there's a blue jay. Anyway, I've been a guinea pig for many things, and I mean, I'm not gonna draw the line at frickin' piercings. So yeah, I was like, sure, you know what, you're learning, just as long as you've got someone nearby who can tell you if you're doing it right, sure. Well, that was maybe, I wouldn't say it was a mistake, but it was a little bit of an instant regret, because she had a bit of an issue with committing. So she had it all lined up, and she had the needle, and she goes, okay, deep breath in. And I take a deep breath in, and she goes, and let it out, and she pushes it. I'm like, ah, okay. And I'm like, all right, all done? She goes, no. Can you just take a deep breath in again? And I'm like, wait, what happened? She goes, the needle didn't go through, so I'm gonna have to do it again. And I'm like, oh, okay. So she goes, okay, deep breath in, and I'm like, okay. And she goes, deep breath out, or like, okay, now let it out. And I was like, okay. So I go to let out my breath, and she goes, oh shoot. Okay. I'm sorry to do this to you, but one more time. And I'm like, what happened? She goes, oh, I missed the line. And I'm like, wait, what? And so she's like, okay, I'm gonna try one more time. It'll go through. And the guy who's like, he was doing a tattoo in the other room, and he comes over and he goes, did I just hear you say you haven't gotten it through her nose yet? And she's like, yeah, no, he's like, when you line it up, you need to commit. He's like, this poor girl is being tortured. And I'm like, it's not that big of a deal. But at this point, like, the tear had come down. When you get your nose pierced, you're always gonna have a tear. And I finally had that tear, and like the first time I was like, oh, yay, no tear, I'm really good. But that's because it didn't go through the like the thicker part of my nose cartilage thing. So yeah, she goes for the second time, it didn't go through, and then she goes, okay, I'm gonna have to do this one more time, I'm really sorry. And I'm like, okay. So she's like, okay, deep breath in. I'm like, okay. And she goes, okay, breathe out. And I'm like, okay. And I didn't breathe out because I knew that like the third one was coming, and I just couldn't breathe out. I was like, I was tense. I'm like, oh my god, just do it, because it was like I'd already basically felt like I already had my nose pierced twice already. So I was like, just freaking do it. So she got it through my nose, and she's like, oh wow, I've never had a nose piercing bleed like this. And I'm like, go fucking figure. You just shoved a needle through my face 3 times in the same spot. No wonder it's bleeding. But she had to give me like a bigger stud. So if you look back at like my very first 3 or 4 videos, not trying to self-promote or anything like that, but if you do go back, you'll see that I had like this really big like silver clear gemstone thingy. That's because literally I had to have a big one in so it didn't sink through the 3 holes she had set up. It was a heck of a time for it to heal, but it did. So the nose piercing I have, it's very, very tiny, and it comes out really, really easily, and I don't have any issues with it like being out overnight or anything like that. See? It's like it's never even happened. And I use this one, this kind here, so it's got like a little corkscrew. I don't know how to hold it, so you guys, I don't want to drop it. There, it's got like a little corkscrew. The post is the very smallest I could have gotten, because my nostrils are very, very narrow, so I didn't, like, I was having a lot of problems. If you look back at any of my videos, you might see the little post poking out of my nose. But yeah, so I've got like a little black, there's a little post, and then it's like a little C, like that, and then it just goes back in, and it's not like that big of a deal. It's actually like really easy to get in, really easy to get out, and really easy to keep clean. Yeah, that's that. But as far as healing, I did get a bump, and what I would do is I would do the saltwater bath, which I was talking about with my ear. So again, I would just take like a bowl, like just a small bowl, like a kid's sandwich container, not sandwich container, but like, you know how you can go to like the grocery store and get like bowls that are for like grapes or whatever for like your kids' lunch. I would just use one of those, and I would fill it up half, or all, like I would put like about a teaspoon of sea salt in the bottom, and then I would pour like as warm as I could stand water on top, and then I would just wait for the salt to dissolve, give it a quick stir, and then I would just basically blow bubbles in the bowl for 30 seconds, or sometimes up to like 3 or 4 minutes, depending on how bad the swelling or infection was. I wouldn't say it actually ever got infected, but it definitely like was swollen for a long time. So when other than that, because I did have a little bit of a bump for like a couple, I don't know, maybe a week, and what I did was I made a paste with aspirin. So what I did was I just crushed up an aspirin with like the back of a butter knife, and then I put that in like a little bowl, and then I would just like put a dip of water on my finger and dip it in, and then mix it together and rub it on before bed at night. And then in the morning I would wash it off, and like I'd put it on the inside and out. And yeah, actually that got rid of the bump really, really fast. Once I started doing that, the bump was probably gone in 2 or 3 days. But like the pain was gone too. And yeah, so that was my aftercare. I just basically kept it clean. I didn't use any, like, I would kind of go around it with my moisturizer. I wouldn't put moisturizer on my nose because I didn't want to get it into the piercing. I also am one of those ones that doesn't follow rules. So they say don't take your piercing out for like 6 months or whatever, but I did. I took it out in the first like 6 days just because I really wanted to clean it properly, and I have a really high pain tolerance, so yes, it hurt to take it out and put it back in, especially because it was a new kind of piercing. Like these here are relatively easy, you know, just twist them in, but this was a different shape and everything, and I'd never dealt with that before. So like, I'm not going to sit here and say like take your piercings out to clean them if they're new, because you shouldn't. You should leave them in. Like especially these ones here, I left them in for the recommended time, which was like I think 3 months. But like, yeah, no, I I don't know. Maybe it was a self-conscious thing. I just couldn't stand having like this infected spot on my face. So I was like, you know what? I know you said not to, but I'm going to take it out to clean it. And then as far as pros and cons, like I love the way it looks. That's why I got it. I love how it looks. I love how it looks on other people. And I actually really love how it looks on me. Sure, I get a lot of people saying like, you look like you're trying to be like super edgy. There was this time back in like, I don't know, February, March, where I had my nose pierced, my hair was purple. I never felt more like me in my entire life. Like it was like a self-identity thing. And I was like, you know what? Purple hair and piercings is what I am. Like that's what I like. And maybe my personality doesn't match it. Maybe it does. I don't really know. But at the end of the day, I don't really care about people's thoughts. Like, I have friends that'll walk up to me and be like, you have a lot of ear piercings. I'm like, I know, I love them. She goes, yeah, well, maybe you shouldn't get any more. People think that they're unfeminine. People think that face piercings are unfeminine. And truthfully, this is 2020 and I don't really have room in my life for that kind of judgment. And it's my face, it's my body, and if I want to put piercings in it and dye my hair, I will. And I recommend that all of you do the same. If that's what you want to do, do it. Pros and cons. Okay, so the pros, like I said, I love how it looks. I mean, I don't know, like there isn't really a whole lot of pros to it. It's not like it's like it helps you breathe or anything. It's not like anything major. But as far as cons, like I know that a lot of people will complain about if you're wearing the wrong kind of stud, it might get stuck on your bedding or whatever. I think one time I got hit in the face so hard that the post went into my the middle of my nose, which kind of sucked. But I know that's happened to my friend Kay a lot too, or once or twice. I don't really know how many times, but I know that that's one thing that Kay said to watch for was hitting yourself in the nose. I guess like when I have a cold, it's not as fun to blow my nose or whatever, but I mean, colds are temporary. What else would I say is like not so great about it? I mean, like you don't have to like learn how to talk or anything. Like everything's kind of the same. Your day-to-day life is the same. Like the downside about these is like when you're getting your hair cut or something, most hairdressers don't think to look for piercings, and so a lot of the time I get my earrings ripped out if I forget to say something, because some of them get really intense with their combs. I don't know if you guys have ever had that, but I've actually had like a hairdresser make my head bleed with a comb, but she also ripped out like 2 of my 3 earrings that day, and I'm like, ow, and I had to replace all those earrings because all the gems or the balls disappeared. Cons. I think that like the biggest con with your nose piercing is like you have to remember it is on your face. I mean, these days you're not going to have issues getting employed with a nose piercing or with ear piercings. At least I hope not. But as far as anything, like I think the biggest con is just while it's healing, like, you know, having to change kind of how you sleep, having to change, I mean, obviously you have this whole new routine of like how to clean your piercings and stuff. I don't know. I kind of like telling that story about my nose piercing. I don't know why, but I do. And like I get a lot of people asking me, especially about these, like the pain and stuff. And it's like, it's nothing, truthfully. And like the nose piercing would have been nothing if she would have gotten the needle through on the first go. But she was learning, and I did approve of that. I did know she was learning. It wasn't like a surprise. So, I mean, I guess I do wish she would have committed and just pierced it properly the first time. But yeah, so that's kind of all I got today. If you guys have any questions about piercings, like I'm definitely not a piercer or a professional by any means. And if you have like specific questions about your piercings, you should consider talking to the person that pierced you, because they always have the best knowledge when it comes to healing or fixing piercings. I think for the most part, it's just important to remember that it's your body, your face, your ears, whatever it is. And if you want to pierce it, do it. You don't need permission from anybody unless you're under the age of 18, in which case you do need the permission of your parents. Never get pierced by a friend. Never pierce yourself. Just, you know, spend a little bit of money that it takes to get pierced professionally, because you really don't want to deal with the infections and stuff that can come from using unsterilized or improperly sterilized equipment. Anyway, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys next week with another video. Bye.
Just a fading memory, and I know that